Hey guys, welcome to today's video. This is going to be our first video for this whole course, and according to what we have on our scheme of work, it's going to be the introduction to HTML. So my name is Ryan Muslim. For those of us who don't know my name, I'm going to be part of your tutors for this course. So first of all, what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it is the standard markup language accepted worldwide for creating web pages. So it is the standard language used to create web pages and is essential for anybody who is looking to web development, anything web development. You really need HTML if you want to start anything on web development. So let's move on to what are the characteristics of HTML. So first thing is that HTML describes the structure of a page. What do I mean by this? If you visit a website, you're going to have text, you're going to have images, you're going to have text box where you can search for something. So all those text, images, and so on and so forth that you have there are done with HTML. So there's something they call CSS, which is known as cascading style sheet. So that's what helps you beautify your page. Probably in our next class, I'm going to be showing us an example of a web page with CSS, which is cascading style sheet, HTML and CSS, and also an a web page without CSS, so that you know the difference. So HTML consists of a series of elements which are represented by tags. So another thing you should know about HTML is that, like I said, HTML consists of a series of elements, and these elements are represented by tags. What do I mean by tags? Tags are those things that, if you get deeper, I'm going to be showing you more. But then, what do I mean by tags? Like you can see here, this doc type here, doc type HTML is a tag. This HTML you can see is a tag. Head is a tag. Title here is a tag, and this title is also a tag. But then whatever is in between these two tags, we call them opening tag and closing tag. We're going to get into them further on later on. But then I'm just trying to tell you that whatever is in between this and this, you can see the only difference between them is this is just this forward slash. So whatever is in between them is what is going to show. So this page title is what is going to show on your web page, and not this title. Same thing applies to this h1 here. So this h1 also is not going to show, but it's just trying to tell you that this my first heading that is being written here is going to be shown on your web page as heading, because this h1 tag stands for the highest, sorry, let me call it the boldest heading. So it's trying to tell the browser that this my first heading, this text that we have here, should be written in the largest size of heading. So if you view this code now in your web page, you're not going to see this h1 that are here. You not see this h1, you not see this h1, but this is what is going to display. So that's what this is trying to tell us, that browsers do not display the HTML tags, but they use them to render the content of the page. So I hope you understand. So let me explain what this simple HTML document means. The doc type HTML declaration, it defines, we call it a declaration, it defines the document to be an HTML5. So the doc stands for document, type stands for type, normal type. So document type, and then space HTML, trying to tell us that the document I'm writing, or this document, is an HTML document. So this doc type is telling us that the document type is HTML. So what this actually does is just to tell the browser that, so this file that is being displayed here is an HTML5 HTML5 tag, an HTML5 document, sorry. So why is it that is going to tell the browser that it's an HTML5 and not 4.3.2.1. So HTML are of different version, but for now HTML5 is the latest version, and that's what most people are using now. So this doc type HTML is what declares the document type to the browser, that tells it that okay, it's an HTML5 file. So moving on to the next one, HTML, this one that we have here, this tag. So the HTML tag is the root element of the HTML document, of the whole page. So this is, it simply tells us that okay, everything here, like this, from this head to this body to the end, whatever is going to be inside it is an HTML5, that it's an HTML. This HTML here is used in all versions of HTML, whether it is HTML4, HTML5, HTML2, HTML3, it doesn't matter. But then this one just tells us that okay, it is an HTML5. So HTML4 has another version of declaring it, but then HTML5 has, this is the version. So this is just trying to tell us that the whole thing is an HTML file, but then the doc type HTML is telling us that it's an HTML5 file. So the next thing is head. So the head element contains meta information about the document. So it contains information like the title, links, meta, and so on and so forth, like that. Also our body. So the body element contains what is going to be visible on your browser when you display it. What do I mean by this? On your browser window, like this code that we have here now, if you display it on a browser window, this is the only thing, my first heading and my first paragraph, those two are the only things that is going to be displayed. This, all other thing outside this head, this body, will not be displayed on the browser. This page title is going to display on this tab, on the tab that we usually have at the top of our browsers. I'm going to be showing you that later, but then for this video, just for explanation. So the next thing, h1, the, like I said earlier, the h1 element is defining it, this text, my first heading, as, so that the browser is going to display it as a large heading, and also the p, so that the browser is going to display it as a paragraph. So moving on to the next thing, which is HTML tags. So what are HTML tags? HTML tags are element names surrounded by angle brackets. So they are like containers that define how different parts of the web page should behave and appear. So they are usually enclosed inside an angle bracket. So what do I mean by this? Like I said earlier here, this h1 is our tag. So it is telling us that this, my first heading, is going to be in an h1 form, and h1 starts for the largest heading, and we have 6 different type of heading: h1, h2, h3, h4, h5, and h6. So the h1 stands for the largest heading. So this h1 is a tag telling us that okay, my first heading that we have here, it should be big. But then if you write my first heading inside maybe a p tag or an h6 tag, you're going to notice that they are going to have different sizes. That's why I said it's they are like containers that define how different parts of the web page should appear or behave. So characteristics of HTML tag. So HTML tag normally come in pairs. Or like I said earlier, we have opening tag and we have closing tag. So the opening tag does not usually have a forward slash, but the closing tag usually have a forward slash, like we have here. So it's only anything shown in between these two tags that is going to be displayed as a paragraph, because those are the only thing inside the paragraph tag. So the first tag in a pair of tags is the start tag, also known as the opening tag, while the second tag is the end tag, also known as the closing tag. And like I said earlier, the end tag is written like the start tag, but with a forward slash inserted before the tag name. So moving on to the next thing, web browsers. We're going to be getting in more deeper into HTML tags. HTML tags are actually very numerous. Like they are not. It's not something we can actually mention finish in this whole video. So that is, if you check our scheme of work, we're going to see there it's a topic on its own that we are going to be focusing on later on. So what is a web browser? A web browser is a software that allows users to access and view website. So it's also a software that allows you to view web pages, not necessarily on the internet. For instance, now HTML documents are usually displayed on the browser. So to see your results, like we have here, so this is our browser. This whole place is our browser. Like I showed you earlier in that code, if you remember, I have my first heading in H1, so that's why it is bigger than the one I have in paragraph. So that's what I was trying to explain. And whatever is in your title, which is what we have in the head here, page title, is what is going to be displayed here, where we have this index HTML. So I hope you understand this. So what is the purpose of a web browser? What does a web browser do? So a web browser, it helps to read HTML documents and display them. So the main work of it relating to this HTML we're learning is that it will read your code and then display them according to what you write, what code you have. So it will read the code and display the results of the code. And like I said earlier, when I was in the characteristic of HTML, if I'm not mistaken, the browser does not display HTML tag but uses them to determine how to display. It does not display but determine how to display the HTML document. So examples of web browser, I'm very sure we all know a lot of web browsers. We have Chrome, we have Microsoft Edge, we have Firefox, we have Safari, and we have Opera, we have Avast, a lot more. So those are the, but for this tutorial, I think we're going to be using Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge, but then you can also use anyone that you have available. So example of a web browser in work, so like I said earlier, it helps you to display what you wrote in your code. So it's what was written inside that code that I showed you earlier is what is going to be displayed here on your browser. You can see all those tags that we have: doc type, HTML, body, title, blah blah blah. They are not being displayed here except for those things that are inside the body tag. So I hope you understand that aspect. So we have what something we call HTML page structure. So before you can start doing anything under HTML, you have to have this whole format here. Then anything you want to be on your page should be inside this body tag. So without this whole format here, you cannot say you are having an HTML file. So this is how the HTML structure is. The first tag we have doc type HTML, second HTML, then the head. Like I said earlier, we have opening tag and the closing tag. Like we can see here, this is the opening tag of the HTML, this is the closing tag here, this is the head, this is the opening tag of the head, this is the closing tag of the head, opening tag of the title, closing tag of the title, opening tag of the body, and closing tag of the body. But then we notice that this doc type HTML does not have um an opening tag. It has an opening tag but not a closing tag. So there are some tags also that they only have opening tag, like the anchor tag that is used to link. It does no sorry, anchor tag has closing tag. There's some tags that don't have closing tags, just for you to know. So we're going to move on to that when we get to HTML tag. So and before our next class, I would have liked it if you can actually memorize this, because you are going to need it. It is going to be very very helpful. And it's not a matter of even being helpful, you need it. There is nothing you can do without this structure that we have here. So please, I would like you to all learn it and have it at back of your mind. So I just want to explain what the doc type declaration is. So the doc type declaration represents the document type, like I said earlier, and helps browser to display web pages correctly. So the doc type is on its own. So you can have doc type maybe jQuery or any other any, but then to show that it's an HTML, that's why we have space and HTML here. And also it must only appear once at the top of anything, because a browser read your browser reads your code line by line, line by line, line by line. So if it does not see that the document type is HTML, it will not know what to present to you as a result. So it needs to know that, okay, the code I'm reading is an HTML code, so it will know how to present it, will know what to present. And also the doc type declaration is not case sensitive. What do I mean by this? You can either write it in capital letter like this, or in small letter, or in uppercase, or in lowercase. But then some programming languages are very case sensitive. For instance, JavaScript, it is a very case sensitive um programming language that if you write just one letter that's supposed to be small letter in capital, your whole code can get disrupted. So you have to be careful when you get to that stage. But then for now, I'm just telling us that this doc type is it is not um case sensitive. So to declare that a file is HTML5 is going to, this is what you need to write. This is the only thing you need to write to, just to declare that it's an HTML5 document. So the key points I want us to note here is that HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is the standard markup language for creating web pages. Browsers do not display the HTML tag but uses them to render the content of the page. The doc type HTML declaration defines the document to be HTML5, and also the start tag is also called opening tag, and the end tag is also called closing tag. So I would like us to have all this at the back of our mind, because it's going to be really helpful, and it might actually come out in our tests, or let me call it exam later on. But then I just want us to have it at the back of our mind, to really need to know this. So that's a quick introduction to HTML. So now I believe you understand the basic structure of an HTML page, the role of tags, and how browsers will interpret HTML. So in our next lesson, we're going to be looking at HTML editors, which are like VS Code, Sublime Text, Brackets, so on and so forth. We have a lot of them. So in our next lesson, I'm going to be showing us how to set them up before we start coding. I know most of us are very anxious to start coding, just want to start typing code. Don't worry, probably by our next class, or our next two classes, we are going to start coding. So stay tuned and feel free to ask any question. Like I usually say, if you have any question, you can either contact me or contact any of the group admin. So thank you for your time. um I wish you a happy stay on this course. I remain your one, Rahim Hussein. Thank you.